There is a person in your life who never complains, who listens more than they speak, who sits in the corner at parties and somehow still notices everything, who says, "I'm fine," so automatically it sounds like a reflex. You probably think they are okay. They are not always okay. And there are things, heavy, real, important things, living inside them that they will never say out loud. Not because they don't want to, but because they have learned, slowly, quietly, that the world doesn't always make space for what they carry. This video is for them. And if you are one of them, you already know who you are. Let's get one thing straight before we begin. Quiet is not the same as empty. Quiet people are not boring. They are not cold. They are not broken or antisocial or secretly miserable. They are simply people whose inner world is larger than their outer expression. Psychologists call this high internal processing. Quiet people think before they speak, sometimes for so long that the moment passes and they say nothing at all. Not because they had nothing to say, because by the time they were ready, it felt too late. And the world tends to misread this. The world sees silence and assumes absence. It sees stillness and assumes emptiness. It sees someone who doesn't fight for attention and assumes they don't need it. But here is what the world misses. The quiet ones are often the most attentive people in the room. They remember the details. They notice the shift in your voice. They feel the tension before anyone names it. They carry conversations in their heads long after everyone else has moved on. They just never say any of this out loud. So, what do they never say? Let's go through it. All 5 things. I am exhausted by pretending I am okay with how little people try to understand me. Quiet people spend a large portion of their lives being misread. They get called shy when they are actually selective. They get called cold when they are actually careful. They get called distant when they are actually overwhelmed. And most of the time, they don't correct people. Because explaining yourself is its own kind of exhaustion. There is a particular loneliness that comes from being constantly misunderstood by people who never bother to ask, who assume, who project, who decide who you are before you have had a chance to show them. And the quiet person smiles, nods, says nothing. But inside, there is a tiredness that goes bone deep. Not the kind that sleep fixes. The kind that comes from being invisible in plain sight for years. They never say this because they don't want to seem needy. They don't want to be a burden. And somewhere along the way, they learned that asking to be understood was asking for too much. I notice everything, and it costs me more than you know. Quiet people are almost always highly sensitive observers. They pick up on micro-expressions, shifts in energy, the way someone's laugh sounds slightly forced, the moment a room changes. They process all of it, constantly, automatically, without being able to turn it off. This is not a gift without a price. When you are wired to notice everything, everything affects you. A dismissive comment that others forget in 10 minutes can live in a quiet person's mind for days. A strange look from someone they care about can spiral into hours of analysis. A change in someone's tone can feel like an earthquake when everyone else felt nothing. They never say this because it sounds dramatic, because they have said it before and been told they are too sensitive, so they stopped saying it. But they never stopped feeling it. I want deep connection more than almost anything, and I don't know how to get there. Here is the quiet person's paradox. They crave intimacy, real, honest, deep human connection. Not small talk about the weather or weekend plans. They want to talk about what keeps you up at night, about the thing you are most afraid of, about what you actually believe when no one is watching. But the path to that kind of conversation terrifies them. Small talk feels like a wall they don't know how to climb. Social situations feel like performances they haven't rehearsed. And so they stand on the edge of rooms, watching other people connect, wondering what is wrong with them, why it comes so easily for others and feels so impossible for them. Nothing is wrong with them. They are just wired for depth in a world that often rewards surface. And they will rarely tell you this, because admitting how much you want connection and how bad you are at reaching for it feels like one of the most vulnerable things a person can say. Your silence toward me speaks louder than anything you have ever said. Quiet people are fluent in silence. They know all its dialects. The comfortable silence between people who trust each other. The heavy silence after something goes wrong. The sharp, deliberate silence that is used as a weapon. The sad silence of someone who has given up trying to be heard. They read all of these, instantly, accurately. So when someone they care about goes quiet, pulls back, becomes cold, stops reaching out, the quiet person feels it with a precision that is almost painful. They know something has shifted. They know something is wrong. They just won't always ask. Not because they don't care. Because they are afraid of what the answer might be. Because they have learned that sometimes asking opens a door you can't close again. And so they carry the knowing. Alone. In silence. I am not okay. But I have no idea how to tell you that. This is the one that matters most. Quiet people are often the last ones anyone worries about. They seem stable, composed. They have learned to function so well beneath the weight of what they carry that no one thinks to check on them. No one thinks to ask. And when something is genuinely wrong, when they are struggling, breaking, barely holding on, they go quieter, not louder. They retreat further inside themselves, because reaching out feels impossible, because they don't want to be a burden, because they have spent so long managing alone that they don't even know how to begin asking for help. And the worst part? They watch other people reach out, cry, call, collapse into someone, and feel both relief that they can't do that and a deep, quiet grief that they can't. They are not okay, and they will never say it first. Here is what I want you to hold on to. Everything we just talked about, the exhaustion, the sensitivity, the craving for depth, the fluency in silence, the struggle to ask for help, none of it is weakness. It is the cost of being someone who feels deeply in a world that moves fast. Quiet people are not broken. They are not behind. They are not less than the loud ones who seem to move through life so effortlessly. They are carrying something real, and they are carrying it with a kind of quiet dignity that most people will never notice, because noticing would require the very thing quiet people are rarely given. Attention, patience, a reason to believe the space is safe enough to speak. If you are a quiet person watching this, I want you to hear something. You are allowed to take up space. You are allowed to say the hard thing. You are allowed to be not okay and tell someone. You do not have to carry all of it alone just because you have gotten good at it. And if you love a quiet person, check on them. Not with a quick "you good" that they will answer automatically. With real presence, with time, with the kind of attention they have always given everyone else. Because they will not ask for it. But they need it, just like everyone else.